All right. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to our District 9 watch party. I am joined today by Prawn Pazuzu, aka James. Thank you, James, for joining me today. Um, and I have a sync point of about 36 seconds in, right as Peter Jackson presents is on screen. So, depending on what copy you guys have, then we're just going to start straight away into the movie. Oh, and it looks like, okay, I need to back up my timer. I am starting a timer again for the counting up. We're going to see how that works. Okay. All right. Prawn Pazuzu, you want to count us down and we'll all press play.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Right on. Okay, and we are going straight into the credits. I am going to start this timer. Okay, that should be accurate in the top right of the screen for where we are in the movie. I'm crossing my fingers it works this time. Okay, so no technical gremlins yet. All right, let's start. James, when did you first see this movie and what are your impressions of it?
I probably saw it when it came out. Shortly after that, not in the theatres. It would have been in some home format, and well, my thought was that Neil Blomkamp appeared to have taken a sizable amount of the film Alien Nation and relocated it to South Africa, with sort of the idea of alien refugees coming to Earth and being a minority in a ghetto in apartheid South Africa.
Yes, there are a lot of alienation elements to this movie. And we're probably going to have a lot of comparisons as this movie goes along. Um,
Sadly, no James Caan being incredibly speciesist with a giant gun, and even more sadly, no Terence Stamp turning into a monster.
yes, and there's already been a posting in Discord. Terrence Stamp has passed away. It was just announced a little while ago. And there was a comment about whether we were going to do more Terrence Stamp movies for watch parties. I can certainly put them on the list and we can add them. He has quite a history of filmmaking. He was in a lot of TV and film, so we've got a lot to choose from. So we probably will do that too. Okay, as we're learning the backstory of this, let me do a quick shout out to everybody in the chat. We have Helifino, Eric, Miss Swift, Mad Matt, Calbot, old Johnny Devick. Let's see, and there's Eric in the YouTube, and then over in Discord. Let's see, make sure I'm starting for today. We have Alex Peacock over there, but he's not going to be joining us. We'll see you next week, Alex, for next week for X-Men. All right, Eric is over there. Miss Swift, Calbots, his sister, Mad Matt, Mr. Furzel. We've got a lot in the chat, and we've got a lot going on with this movie. A lot that we can talk about. Yes, Miss Swift. Yes, serious Alien Nation vibes. Yes. And for anybody, okay, so I did not know this until yesterday. The director of this, Neil Blomkamp, actually made this movie as an extension from his short film. What is it? I want to make sure I get it right. Alone in Joburg, which is a 6-minute film that he did, came out a few what, a few years before District 9 did. And that is what was the inspiration for hiring him as a director to make this movie after Neil's original project, Halo, fell through.
That's actually quite the
Um,
common way for directors to get a first film. You know, you got people like Parker Finn with Smile. Was that a year or two ago? Where that was basically a 2 hour extension of a short film he'd done for the festival circuit. So it's kind of, if someone's done a calling card that's good and it has potential, they seem to use that as the first project.
exactly, especially since this was Neil's first, what, blockbuster, first feature length. He'd already proven that he had a solid idea. And for anybody who hasn't seen Alone in Joburg, it is on YouTube. I found it yesterday. Very easy watch, 6 minutes. And it expanded a lot of the ideas that this movie just touched on. But it's the basic idea about this alien rogue ship, except in Alone in Joburg, it was a number of ships, and there was what, a dozen ships that came down and settled over the skies. But this, we have one lone ship that, for whatever reason, hovered over Johannesburg, and now we're picking up the action decades later, and they
I,
are
I have to say that prawn sorting through the trash for food is again very Alien Nation with them.
very
The visitors getting drunk on sour milk.
exact. Yeah, you know what? Yes, I have not seen Alien Nation since we did the watch party, and yes, the comparisons are coming back. And in Alien Nations, the world just, we kind of integrated the aliens into what, into our society. And by contrast, we have District 9, which has not, and there is a definite pushback, and to
Well,
keep these
in
aliens, the
Alien
prawns,
Nation,
separate.
they weren't really integrated. They were just sort of like a underclass with their the thrust with the alien George played by Mandy Patinkin, with them trying to integrate somehow.
Trying,
I
yes,
mean,
trying to integrate.
I mean, here obviously because of South Africa's particular history, they've gone straight for segregation.
Yes, exactly. This, so we have quite a history with this movie. There are a couple of making of District 9 features that are fascinating to watch. Um, and what I found fascinating is Peter Jackson, which, yes, in the chat, you guys have already picked up the fact that Peter Jackson got involved in this. Um, let's see, old Johnny Devick was saying Peter Jackson was impressed and supported this to give back after his success for himself. Um, yes, Mad Matt says, or the influence of Peter Jackson's Alien movie, Bad Taste. Yes. So there's, for Peter Jackson to become involved, he was impressed with Neil's work. And I did Peter Jackson come up with the money? I think it was a studio backed film that gave Neil 30 million, have a ball, make your movie. 30 million back in this day was quite a big chunk of change. And you can see this money well spent in the effects alone of the prawns and the spaceship. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best movies I've seen with the special effects that even years later now in 2025, they are not dated. Yes, Johnny Devick. Yeah, Jackson put it up. Yes. Didn't the director work for Jackson's effects studio? Could be. Could be. Um, oh, Miss Swift was saying Lights Out also started as a short. Oh, okay. Let's not forget Discord. Mr. Furzel is saying, I like that the ship was just hanging in the sky there for years. some sci-fi writer, might have been Asimov, rather creatively suggested one of the ways aliens could make contact is to just show up and be there so people can get acclimated to it for years so they would not freak out when they actually tried to communicate. That's a very interesting concept because in this movie it just hovered. um, and we actually, in this movie, we've actually gone into the ship and tried to make contact. And so here we go. Vikas. It's spelled with a W, so I keep wanting to say his name is Vikas, but it's pronounced Vikas. His character is one of the most fascinating character studies in this film, or any number of films that I could probably discuss him all day long as a character from his development to his conclusion in this movie. Um, which brings me to another topic. Who has not seen this movie before? I have a feeling a lot of my discussion might give away some spoilers. Um, I can keep them to a minimum if we have a large number of you that have not seen this movie. Um, Mad Mad is saying I was also seeing some similarities in the documentary style as in Cloverfield. Yeah, it is interesting. This movie has it's described as a found footage slash documentary slash action slash sci-fi interactive um, concept of a movie. Okay, sister is saying it's been a while for me, wife's first time, but she's okay with spoilers. Okay, good to know. Okay, Matt, never watched until today, so spoil away. So feel free to interrupt, James. I feel like I could just talk away. And normally I don't like to just talk. So just feel free to interrupt. Um,
Yeah, I was just looking up something. Thinking, who was it who said it was Mr. Furzel talking about? I think it was Arthur C. Uh, Asimov. I think it was Arthur C. Clarke in Childhood's End that had the giant motherships turn up above every city in the world and basically just sit there for a week doing nothing until the aliens announced that they were taking control of all international affairs.
Very much like Independence Day. So we have that common theme among what alien, quote unquote, alien invasion movies. Some come with a bang and a roar,
But
some come with
Childhood
a
Ends,
whisper.
you're looking at a 1953 novel, so I think that's probably more likely to be inspiring something like V,
Mhm.
which in turn inspired Independence Day. But then, yeah, it's looking back to Independence Day again, probably cinematically, with the idea of the mothership over a city.
Yeah. Mr. Furzel is saying, I don't think I have watched this since '09. Kind of a heavy film with some hard scenes to watch since they hit close to home. Uh, yes, this movie, there can be a lot to say as you hold up this movie as a mirror to what has gone on in South Africa. Um, there have, from what I have heard, there was not a purposeful reflection of what was going on with in Johannesburg in South Africa with apartheid. But watching this movie in 2009, over a decade since apartheid supposedly came to an end, you can't help but see this movie is pretty much putting a mirror up to what had been going on politically in South Africa at that time. So you can't just say there's nothing here to compare it to, but yet was there an intentional reflection? You know, it depends on who you ask, but watching the movie, you could totally see that. Apartheid had been going on for decades as and I don't want to come across as an expert, but we were taught in school it had been going on as a political um, based system where the minority was ruling over the majority class,
mm,
and they were separating everybody by your race and ruling as such.
mm,
Supposedly that had come to an end in 1994, where they introduced a democratic process. Um, and what we see here is it's reflected in this movie where the prawn mothership came and landed in the 80s, and it had been there for decades. The prawns came out and tried to live on our planet, were forced to live because they couldn't what power their ship,
and
and this is how they were treated.
and you have the black people who were the bottom of the pile in South Africa, who've now
Yeah,
got someone lower down the pile from them who they can persecute.
exactly. So you can watch the this movie as a full circle presentation of what had been going on years prior. And now here comes uh, I keep wanting to say Weekus. His name is Vikas, as part of the MNU, the multinational United corporation group, moving the prawns out of this substandard housing. They're going to move them all into a more approved living location. And I think one of the scariest realizations for me is the houses, the shacks. These are real shacks that people had been living in. Um, this is not set dressing. This is not anything they made. This is all they filmed this in real time. Um, oh, Johnny Devitt, are they prawns gender? That is interesting. These prawns, I don't think there's a way to visually tell what sex they are because we're assuming there's male and female, right? Um, I don't recall that being a discussion. So yeah, it's interesting.
Crispy.
No, go ahead.
They're saying those prawns are going to be quite crispy.
Crispy prawns. Yeah, isn't this interesting that this Vikas is taking too much joy in his job, and there is okay. Yeah, this is a very big thought that I have, and I'm going to try to condense it. Vikas is, I think, a product of what has been taught to him over the decades. Of it's easier to deal with these prawns this way if you dehumanize them, if you see them as lower than life form. You can come in like Vikas is doing with a smile on his face, burning people's prawns, burning their houses down, moving them out, treating them as the aggressor. And it's easier to do that if you've already formed your opinion that they're not really life forms. And isn't that kind of what humans do in order to justify behavior? Sometimes we dehumanize others. And again, that is obviously a big topic we can talk about condensed into this small movie, which packs such a wallop. Um,
Although, of course, one has to point out that you're not really dehumanizing in this case because they aren't human,
exactly. So it's easier to dehumanize, to what, devalue their life,
isn't it?
since they are aliens. They don't look like us. They aren't humans. They're not us. So
Yeah.
therefore, you're able to justify your behavior. So that's where we see Vikas, and by extension, his corporation he works for. They're all in cahoots doing this with the idea that they're giving these prawns a better life by moving them to a different location. Um, so, so this discussion, this movie has such deep implications. Um, and I appreciate movies like this that are not just all fluff and stuff, that really leave you thinking at the end of it. When we see the prawns here, they're digging through these trash piles. So this main prawn, Christopher, and his young one, and the young one does have a name. Did anybody catch that? Christopher, and I think Paul is the name of the other prawn. They're friends. That they're the prawns that seem to be on a mission. Um, yeah, Johnny Devick, they are prawn to prejudice. And Miss Swift, yes, burning their eggs and children. And Vikas was taking joy in that. And he's doing it with a smile. Um, if if you all have, sometime this week, if you want to check out Neil's short movie, his 6-minute movie, the actor who plays Neil, who plays Vikas, is also in that. Um, and he kind of has the same kind of attitude that he has now. And that's exactly why he was cast in this movie, because he was in the short movie. Um, okay, so Matt says, but they did humanize them by giving them names and trying to apply some sort of legal status. Um,
Well,
I,
that's not humanizing them. That's just giving regularizing a way that you can treat and process them.
and
You
the
know,
and
like
the way that you can keep track of
I give
detail.
my dog a name. It doesn't mean I've humanized him. He's still a dog.
Yeah, that's an interesting process. That by the simple fact that we humans were calling these prawns by a name that we have given them, did anybody think of asking the prawns themselves what their names were? And this maybe could have all been avoided had the initial contact with the prawns been one of peace.
Well, again, I
But
point out
then,
in Alien Nation, the aliens were given names by the humans, which is why you've got so many aliens in that film with comedy names, because they kind of ran out of sensible ones. So you have San Francisco.
you know what? That is a very good point. And I think because in Alienation we couldn't pronounce in their native dialect their names. Um, it's an interesting concept. Hell if I know is saying, and yet so many humans are dehumanized today just as easily by the rich and privileged, and the courts and lawmakers sit by and do nothing because they are getting their pockets lined too. Oh yeah. So there are a lot of aspects of this movie that can reflect back on us, and we can see where us as societies have gone off the rails and failed. Um, and lest we not forget the spectacular special effects where we see the mothership from a distance, it looks like it is actually hovering over the skies. When we see the prawns up close, it's it's phenomenal filmmaking. Um, and I think we are about okay. We're a little bit of a ways away from having our first what um, major spin on the story. Um, because yeah, this is yeah. In many ways, I just want to sit back and watch this movie and just kind of watch it in silence because this is riveting. Um, I think, yeah, I want to say so. There's Christopher hiding behind the shack, and I think Paul. I want to say Paul. They're what? Not they're partners. They're friends. They're on a mission together. And that liquid that they were finding in the trash piles was paramount to what they have been trying to do. Um, yeah, and okay, so who was it that that was mentioning over in the YouTube chat about the subtitles were actually subtitling what the prawns were saying? Oh, there's Calbot. Weird. Watching this on Hulu on my Roku, and the subtitles are subtitling the prawn subtitles. It's like so double subtitles.
Amazon's only single subtitling it.
Okay, so you're watching
That's
it on
weird.
so am
So
I.
that is a weird Hulu thing then.
Yeah, so I would be interested if you want to shout out some of those subtitles that the prawns are actually saying, because I'm just like you, James. I'm getting the single subtitles, if that. Um, I wonder, and I wonder if I can fix that because I think that it's far more interesting if we can figure out what the prawns are saying in
I am
response.
I am getting subtitles for the prawns. What I think what he's saying is that he's getting the in effect like the burnt in subtitles when the prawns are speaking, but it's
Oh,
also
gotcha.
being subtitled on the subtitle track, so it's there twice on screen.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Okay.
it
How
so
about
it
yeah?
says so it
Saying
says aliens speak, I fix things. Aliens speak, I fix things.
exactly. Okay. Let me see. That might be my setting though. If I can fix that. Okay. Okay, that might have worked. So yeah, just how casual that these guys and Vika still has a smile on his face. Um, while they're terrorizing this poor little prawn. Oh, you know what, sister? Yes, it is interesting that we're watching this given the climate today. Uh, yes, and I think we could almost say that at any period in our history to watch this movie, there is in essence you could put up a mirror to something that's going on in today's world. Yeah, Mad Matt subtitles should display click click or ack like in Mars Attacks. Yeah, they're doing a lot of the clicking, which apparently one of the native languages in this area of Johannesburg is Zulu, which involves a lot of clicking. So I don't know how accurate that was, but I found that was an interesting tidbit. Oh, Mr. Furzel, the liquid also sprayed on the camera. Look out for Trent. So, as if the MNU hasn't sunk low enough, They're threatening to take this baby prawn away because of the conditions that these prawns were forced to live in by society. And he's using it as a threat. Like, my opinion is he's using it as
It's a,
show.
it's a, it's a way authorities can use to get people to do what they want because, strangely, people don't like having their children taken away.
Exactly. It's amazing how much parents comply if the threat of having their children taken away from them.
Whereas I just say, fine, you have them. I don't want them.
Good luck. How about take them? Good luck.
Well, if the
Um,
lock's changed in the morning,
yep. So this was, yeah, Vikas messing around where he shouldn't have, having a superior attitude, coming into their house and messing around with whatever he saw, not knowing anything about it, not even talking to the prawns about it. He got something sprayed into his eye. Um, so this is pretty significant. You know, what is the, isn't that a name in, or like a lyric in a song title, messing around and found out? If you mess around and find out, something like that. And that's exactly what he did. But here he is thinking it's no big deal. Yes, Miss Swift, weakest. FAFO. Yes. And so here we go. Weakest is about to have a very bad day. Yes, hell if I know. Forgot how much a conniving blankety blank Vikas is in this film. Not very sympathetic. Exactly. He starts out as, you know what the word is? He's a pompous bureaucrat, who works for this corporation, who, don't forget, has had decades of having this narrative built into his head. Exactly. Now we're getting to Vikas having a very bad day, guys. And this is just the beginning. So, yeah, that's gross.
possibly
Matt,
seek some sort of medical attention.
you'd think that he would be a little bit nicer and maybe not so pompous about what he did. Maybe he'd want to say yes. Maybe going to a doctor would be a good idea.
I would have just thought saying I had some alien goo spilt on me and I appear to be turning into a meal from RoboCop. What should I do?
Yeah. So, Mad Matt, I don't want to forget these comments. You guys are on fire in the chat. Do we feel like there is different class structures among the aliens? Are some savage and others intelligent? Very good point, because a class within a class very well could be. Eric is saying this is what I do not get at all. Why would he not get medically examined? Because he's still under the impression that he's in the right. Um, he's this bureaucrat doing his job, having a decade's worth of narratives drilled into his head about that these prawns are savages. They're what? I mean, you name it. Below subhuman, sub life forms, not worth the time of day, not worth talking to, not worth getting to know. And I think that's where he started. Um, Matt, yes. Did Vikas accidentally teleport with a fly? We're getting the fly vibes. Um, okay, so now we have another group of people who have also made homes within District 9. I think they brought them in as, they call them Nigerian, this whole group of people who are now taking advantage of the District 9 system, as it were. That these guys are now taking advantage of the guys that are guys loosely, okay? the prawns that are being taken advantage of by humans, and as Matt pointed out, being taken advantage of by other prawns. Within the prawn community, would there be different levels? I believe there are, and I think it's addressed in the movie.
Well, it's again in Alien Nation. You had different classes of alien taking advantage of one another within their community.
Exactly.
Well, there specifically, they were a race of aliens who'd been used as slaves, and within their number, there were some who'd used to work for the slave masters. So,
Exactly. So we have all of these classes are intertwined and examined, and now we begin with Vikas. It might not have done him any good to seek medical attention because nobody knows what he was exposed to. And I think everybody here at the party is thinking that what everything is okay and he's just sick. But as he's not looking good at all. Yeah, and I don't want to give away too much because there's just a lot to this movie. Mr. Furzel, eating your enemy to absorb their power. Pretty sure that idea has been around since the Stone Age. Exactly.
mm,
Yeah. And so now he has gone to the hospital, and yeah. And it's interesting that he already had that cast on his arm, and yeah, he's just not quite right. So I can infer by what is happening to him at the rate that it's happening. He already had an injured arm,
ugh.
and the stuff that sprayed in his face affected that first because it was already damaged. And all I'm doing is just supposing that that is the, I guess, the progression of it. Oh, Johnny Devick, is this Prawn 9 from outer space? Okay, well, Vikas is about to have a very bad day. Um, the very company that he works for has now kidnapped him and assumed control over him.
He can use his prawn arm to operate prawn machinery for them. Everyone's a winner.
Yes, so that's kind of where that's the level at what we can understand, since the prawn technology is linked to them biologically. That would be the company's first go to, having one of their bureaucrats with a prawn arm. That's the first thing they would think of. Okay, great. Now he can work their machines. But again, there's no talking to Vikas. There's no trying to understand what is happening to him. They're seeing him as an asset that they can own and control for their own benefit.
Yeah, I think Eric has mentioned the black goo from Prometheus, and I was thinking of Prometheus earlier with him
Hmm.
mutating. It's not often I think of Prometheus, apart from when things are highly illogical or stupid happen in films. Then I think of it a lot.
Yeah, that is an interesting connection because, yeah, I did not make that connection. Oh, Mad Matt over there in Discord. Yes, the what is his character? The Muppets, the shrimp. Oh, he's a king prawn, actually. Yes, very appropriate. So totally against Vikas's.
That's Pepe the King Prawn.
Yeah. So this is against his will. Um, now he is becoming part of the oppressed class. And there was this shift as soon as they, the company, seeing him as an asset to their goals, they will seize control of him at all costs. And this is, in essence, heartbreaking because now they're seeing him as a weapon. Yeah, hell if I know. Payback is a bitch. Exactly. But now I'm kind of leaning towards understanding what Vikas as a character must be going through, whereas the day before he was the oppressor, and now he is part of that oppressed class. And maybe he's starting to understand exactly what it must be like to be a prawn. Johnny Devitt, this reminds me of the failed RoboCop 2s. So, yeah, that scene right there where he's shooting another prawn, that I think absolutely crosses a line. Um, that's where I think Vikas is starting to understand, maybe and understood completely the position that he has been put in about how vile this company is. And yeah, this conversation is, it's heartbreaking from Vikas's perspective, but this is how the story is going to progress. Yeah, you know what? Let's see who did that. Miss Swift. Yep. Over there in Discord. Yeah, those gifts, payback time, and the circle of karma goes what yeah, what comes around goes around. Johnny Devick, yes, the animation on that prawn as he got shot. Um, you would forget for just a second that it was all CGI and practical effects. They gave a really heartbreaking expression on that prawn's face. And yeah, hell if I know, except the scientists are assholes too. They're all working for the same goal, the same company. And they just are so goal oriented, and it is the ends justify the means. Mad Mad, it's a new era. It's the prawning of Aquarius. That's a good one. A little levity in the midst of this horror, you know, it's not a bad thing to kind of pull back and not get so drawn in as this movie goes deeper down this hole.
Mm.
So Vikas is acting out exactly as the prawns did when the prawns were um, what? Um, well, what we're seeing is a mirror of what the prawns were going through when they were forced to move against their will, and what their life must have been like with no rights, no nothing. But yeah, Vikas is now fighting back. Okay, so this guy that's talking to the wife, is he part of the scientific community or is he part of the management at MNU? He's one of the scientists, right?
Yes.
Do you remember?
I was just trying to see what my Amazon X-ray notes tell me about who it's meant to be. Uh,
So whatever group he belongs.
that man is Piet Smit. He's the managing director of MNU South Africa and Weekas's father-in-law.
Ah, so yeah, he's part of the, sorry that he's going through this. Sorry, move on. It's okay.
You could find a husband who's not a complete prawn.
Exactly. Find a man that's not what? Yeah. Yes, Mad Matt, Vikas's boss. So in essence, he would be Vikas's boss, one of the head up guys. Yeah, hell if I know. And his father-in-law, the bastard. But the company is acting the same way that they've always act. Vikas is just now seeing it from the other side. So that was an interesting scene where the guy was saying Vikas is the first and only human alien hybrid to ever survive. So that gives you the impression that what they have tried this before. I
Or
wonder,
there, or there've been accidents before.
or maybe on purpose, like a purposeful accident. Isn't that interesting? One of his lines was, "You are legally obligated to serve me," and he's still invoking his superior. He's still thinking that that will get him somewhere. Um, and obviously, he's very mistaken. Yeah, Miss Swift. So it implies they've been trying to do it themselves. Yeah, from that one line, I'm wondering if they had been doing it all along, and they're now surprised and delighted that it actually took, and Vikas is still alive. Yes, Mr. Furzel. Yes, now comes the next step. Now they are discrediting him, and they have to. And this just drives him into isolation, into desperation, and that control where he will have to come back to them. I'm surprised the NMU up until this point hasn't used the line, "We're from the MNU and we're here to help." Okay, Miss Swift. I think you're the one that posted that. The finger with that black goo on it. That's from Prometheus.
Mm. Prometheus and Alien Covenant are bad movies.
I find that very interesting. Our discussions, when it does come back to Prometheus on occasion, um, I think there's some in the crowd in this group that like it and some don't. I find it fascinating that there can be that kind of movie, Prometheus, where I don't know anybody who like absolutely loves it, but there are people that absolutely hate it and that like will go the medium road where it's good but lacking in a lot of regards. And in my opinion, I think I'm kind of like the middle ground. And I've watched it on occasion because I want to maybe get to the point where I really, really like it. And I think that I'm missing something. Um, but and I think it's okay for what it was and what it tried to do. Oh, Miss Swift, man, you're full of those gifts. I see super slash hybrid soldiers in their future. Yes, like a prawn with a knife. Um, Johnny Devick, I like what it set out to do, but hated the stupid people in it. That's a good way of putting it. Hell if I know. Prometheus is all flash, no substance, made for nostalgia bait. Yes.
At least in Alien Covenant, you get to see James Franco burned to death without being given any dialogue in the first few seconds of the movie.
Really. I have not seen Alien Covenant. I think I am lumping that all in with franchise fatigue. Anything dealing with aliens, that whole universe, I'm just so over it. But I know that I'm going to be missing out on some good stuff by saying that. Alien. Okay, so in the chat we've got you think Alien Covenant is pretty good for the James Franco bit. Alien Covenant is just getting decimated in the chat. So I will be sure to stay away from that.
Well, I think it's telling about the quality of both Prometheus and Covenant that with doing anything to take that franchise forward, everyone's ideas involve completely ignoring those films and going back to Alien.
Which, if this franchise is going to keep going on, then I guess the only way that you could go and really be true to the nature of the franchise is go back to the beginning and
Which is
stay in
kind of
that
which is
universe.
kind of what they've done with both the film Alien Romulus and by the look of it, the TV series Alien Earth.
Okay, so have you seen Alien Earth and is it
I've,
worth watching?
I've seen the first two episodes, which is all that's dropped on Disney Plus over
Mm.
here. They're going to be putting up one a week, and it's visibly kind of set in a world in the future world of Alien with all its clunky computer technology and everything. And I've enjoyed it so far. It seems to be building to something. I mean, I enjoyed Alien Romulus too, apart from the fact that the teenage kids in it were so annoying. I kind of wanted the alien to kill them, and I took major umbrage at the CGI AI fake Ian Holm they had.
Well, you know what? There seems to be a lot of opinions on that. Alien Earth, I might visit an Alien Romulus. I might. Okay, that's a big might. If I have nothing better to watch, if I have time, I might just for shits and giggles. Um, so yeah, the two comments I wanted to pick up on. Sis Sister is saying, I own Covenant as a completist, and that's about it. So yeah, as a completist, you'd want to watch everything and get everything. Um,
Yeah, but that
and
leads you to watch Aliens versus Predator Requiem, and really, I wouldn't
oh,
do that.
um, and let's see, what was the uh, so okay, and so Miss Swift is saying I wouldn't mind a Prometheus watch party so we can drag it to hell and back. So
Not one.
knowing,
It's not one I'm keen to ever watch again.
yeah, and so okay, so
And
before I get
watching all these bad films Ridley Scott makes, it kind of shows just how much of the other films that were good are actually down to him, and the answer's not a lot of it.
and you know what, there is something to be said for having a watch party knowing going in it's going to be a bad movie. If it's a bad movie that knows it's a bad movie, then there is a good quality about it and that makes it fun to watch. um I'm not opposed to that. Maybe we'll do like a series or a month of good bad movies that way, and I'll put Prometheus on the list. No guarantee because we got a bunch of bad movies that we could do. Um, yes, Ms. Swift. Vikas is trying to ask himself a question, and he is at this point. He is feeling more. He is being accepted more into the prawn community than he is into the human community. So the humanity itself has ostracized him, but the prawns seem to be okay with him.
Yeah, I'm with Mr. Fertile with the idea that completism's not necessarily something you want to do. He mentions the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, again, they're both films I see no need for me to ever watch again.
Exactly. We could say that about a lot of these franchises, which
I, I,
really start off good.
I mean, I've got physical copies of them, but that's only because they came in the Dirty Great box set with the ones that I wanted to see. And even
Yeah.
then, I don't watch the copies of the ones I wanted to see because they're not the versions of the film I want to watch.
But you know what? There is a satisfaction in being a completist. There's a lot of fun in that. Because you never know, one day you might watch all the movies and just binge them all
And you
and
might
have a
sit
good
there
time
knowing,
doing
oh yeah, after this point, there's like 6 hours of really bad films, and then it's all over.
it. And then it's all over. Exactly.
Or you could just not watch the really bad films.
And just gloss over them and know they exist in the universe and just want no part of it.
I think it's a lot easier to say everything ends with Return of the Jedi.
Everything.
It's such a
Thank
good
you.
thing they made no sequels, no prequels, no spin-off streaming series. Just those
Yeah.
three films and the Star Wars Holiday Special, two Ewok straight-to-video movies, and the cartoon series Droids, and nothing else apart from the
Hey,
radio series.
now that you mention it, I wanted to make a comment before that I have compiled a master list of all these watch party ideas of movies that might make it on the list one day, movies that we've shouted out in the chat. And they even come from the list that you sent me, James, of ideas that you had. So I have compiled this master list that I'm going to keep adding to, but at least now I don't have them on like 18 different pieces of paper. I have them on a Google Docs spreadsheet.
Mm.
I will put the Star Wars Holiday Special on that
I
as
think
a.
that's something that's a little hard for people to see.
So just because it's on the list doesn't mean we're actually going to do it.
As it's
But
as it's
I might not even have an audience.
even more suppressed than the theatrical version of the films.
Yeah. Um, it might not even be available to stream. But anyway, so I do have this list as. So James, you're going to go on vacation for the next 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
I've got Alex Peacock for next week, and then I've got Miss Swift booked for the week after that. And it seems like I have enough interest. It seems like you guys are all on board for this to coming back to like a not a revolving door, but alternating guests. So that way, not one person has to commit for every single week. And we can do more of a, if someone wants to come co host, choose a movie that is of interest to them, and we'll see if we can make that work. I appreciate you, James, coming on as like a permanent host, because that has freed me up from having to kind of put this channel together, wondering who I'm going to get as a co host. Um, but it was also one of those things that coming off of Creator VC doing it, we had Andrew and Dom as permanent co host. And I was thinking in my head, coming on to a new channel, that's what I'd want to do too. But I don't know if I don't know. You guys seem to be on board with doing different co-hosts, getting different opinions. So not one person has to commit to it. So I am open to communicating with anybody about how we want to do this. And I know, James, you're available. If you're available to come on board, if I need someone,
Mm.
we do it that way. I don't know. Um, I think, yeah. Thank you, Johnny Devick. No problem swapping around. Yeah, and as I grow this channel, we shall see what it becomes. I love your guys' input. I love all of these different from different backgrounds and all these different movies that you guys like. It's exciting. Sith Sister, are we going to possibly do the holiday special standard version or riff tracks? It's fun to talk about the holiday special. I would probably not have much of an audience if I was to do it. I don't know if I could sit through it again. I saw it when it was on TV way back in the day, um, and that was it. I think once is enough. I don't know. What do you guys think? Um, you know what, Eric? Yes, that's what I am trying to do. We really should try to grow our audience and get more people in here and get more people in here that would love to co-host as well. But it's very hard schedule wise. Um, I I have been working on some of the things in the background, trying to do that kind of thing, and I'm just kind of waiting. I have some people that want to that are kind of apprehensive. I don't know. I don't know yet what this channel will become, if it is going to settle on anything. I think we're just going to kind of evolve it into something. But I'm always up for new people joining, wanting to co-host, or I might even try doing it by myself one time, which has been my biggest fear of having a 2 hour movie where it's nothing but me and you guys just get to listen to me for 2 hours. That's my biggest fear at this point. But I seem to be doing a pretty good job of just talking on the fly. Okay, so back to the movie. He is now trying to deal with the Nigerians. Miss Swift, the fun of watching the holiday special is showing it to people who've never seen it before and watching their horrified reactions. Exactly. And they're gonna at the end of it, they're gonna wonder how they're gonna get that hour and a half back. But see, the fun of it is watching it with others who know it was bad as well.
You see, I'm remembering why I haven't watched this for years now.
Oh,
But
what, District 9 or the holiday special?
District 9, it's basically three different movies stitched together, and the first third, when they're kind of doing handheld cam, reality cam,
Mhm.
Alien Nation, I like. That's a good science fiction setup. Now we've got a third that's gooey special effects and quite boring wronged man on the run stuff. And then I think the next third is, from my point of view, even worse because it's about to turn into just a kind of a generic action movie, possibly ripping off the end of Children of Men. So it's kind of the interesting materials all at the start of the film. Now it's just icky special effects and him on the run. And then it will be lots of shooting, and then it's over. And the second two thirds don't really do anything with the interesting material that was in the first third.
Yes, that is. They do have the different elements of like the
I mean, they've,
filming
they've
style.
even given up the pretense of shooting it like it's found footage at this point. That's just completely gone.
Yeah, and we're turning into. We have how much? We have about 45 minutes left. I'm at an hour seven. Okay, my timer is almost spot on for if anybody wants to stay current. Yes, so it's turning into a very different kind of film now that the premise, the introductions have been made. We are getting into more of an action pat shootout.
I think this
Uh,
is also one of the problems you get with films that are spun off shorts. That I mean, I found it the other year with that film Smile. That the sequence that kicks it off, that's basically what was the short film, remains very strong, and then you get a lot of stuff that feels like padding or from a different film to get it up to the length they want. And that's
yeah,
kind of the feeling I have with this.
yeah, and I don't mind that so much because it does further the story and it does give us a conclusion and it doesn't stay the same kind of style. But yeah, that's why we have different reactions, different feelings about this movie. Johnny Devick, maybe I can try to do co-host in the future. Just a bit unpractical to do from home. You know what? We'll be in communication on that and see if we can make it happen. I am hesitant about doing it in my home with my child and my dog, who are my dog is apt to disrupt the feed. Yeah, and there's just a lot more going on in the house. Johnny Devick, maybe we can do a panel with many OMCE, like a lot of people on the screen, like in a panel. Is that what you're thinking? Matt is saying last third is a human becomes an alien weapon a la laser blast. Yeah, then that's what we're going to be seeing in this last third of the movie. Okay, Sith sister, your comment about the holiday special. Um, I did that for my wife, except she loved it. She doesn't like Star Wars, so it fits. So her first time watching it, she loved it. That would be a blast if we get a bunch of people who have never seen it before and show it to them and get their on-screen reaction. I bet we could have at least one person that says, "Ah, that was great." Hmm. Okay, Johnny Devitt, yeah, like a Zoom call. The only problem would be if we have too many voices at once. Um, for anybody who has been doing these watch parties and was doing them from the beginning when Creator VC was doing that, if you remember when Creator VC had their Discord server, the first couple watch parties we did where everybody was in the chat, that our mics would be on, or we would, when we wanted to speak, we would do our mics. At a certain point, it got to be too confusing. Too many spoil the broth kind of thing. Just too many voices at times. That is one of my fears with having too many people talk at once. They get crowded out. Whereas maybe two or three, we could easily have a conversation. Nobody feels, shut down or shut out of the conversation, and we could still have our chat going on. Um, so yeah, I think that's doable. I'm open for some different ideas to go forward. So yeah, to piggyback off of your comment, James, about the last third of this movie, there's just a lot of the good guys versus bad guys. So now we have identified the prawns as the good guys. The NMU guys are now the bad, the oppressors who are just coming in with guns and shooting everything up. Um, and we do have a lot of action, a lot of gunfire going on. Oh, there we go. Miss Swift, very good. A panel like the Brady Bunch. We could have, and don't forget Alice in the middle. We could have a Brady Bunch. Yeah, exactly, Miss Swift. Give Christopher a moment, Vikas. They're having an existential moment. Exactly. And Christopher he's proven to be kind of a badass. He's awesome. And he is becoming the hero. And isn't that interesting that now the prawn Christopher is protecting Vikas the human. So there, I almost forgot. There was talks about a sequel. Um, Even the director was the one that was making the announcement that there was going to be a sequel, and it hasn't panned out. This movie came out in 2009 and is what, as of what, 20, I think 2024 was kind of the last discussion I had seen on it, is that there were people that are hopeful for a sequel. They were going to call it District 10, and it was based on the ending of this movie was kind of where the sequel was going to be picking up. And it has, I think it has now fizzled. Um, the director has kind of what, not had a falling out, but the director himself has just kind of stopped producing. So it doesn't seem like the sequel is anywhere close to being a done deal. And I think they've kind of quashed the idea. Yeah, hell if I know. District 10. It was supposed to be called District 10. You can see some images, like some fan made images out there for District 10. Matt, just like the Independence Day sequel. Exactly. They had such high hopes, runaway blockbuster, and they had every intention of making a sequel, and then it just fizzles out. That was a dick move by Vikas. Do I have audio coming through?
Allow thing going on.
Oh, that was weird. Did you guys hear that? Like that audio, or was it just me? Okay.
This little girl was so
Boy, just
excited to see her brother, and as he walked over to his family, she opened her arms wide, ready to hug him. But instead, he did this, showing her what real sibling love looks like. This little girl was so excited to see her brother, and as he walked over to his
Did you
family,
guys hear that?
I can hear that. I don't know what it is.
What the heck? I know, Mr. Furso. What the heck? I have no open tabs. Oh no. Yeah, Miss Swift, it's back. Remember when that happened before? I don't have any open tabs, nothing. Oh, geez. Let's keep that away. Yeah, Eric, that sounded like a web page. I have nothing open. And I purposely have my phone to do internet searches and stuff just in case. Okay, guys, we have about 34 minutes left. Let's hope the internet gremlins stay at bay. And I'm not going to feed the gremlins. No, I'm not going to feed the gremlins. Yeah, Miss Swift, sneaky pop-ups. I don't have any pop-ups. So I wonder if there's anything sneaking around in the background or my neighbors are doing something. Yeah, this is cool. Their alien technology, they got the ship to run. This is cool.
Although it doesn't
And
really make much sense that the aliens can't operate their own technology without the goop that has infected Vikas.
yeah, was it that they needed fuel?
And again, it doesn't make much sense to me. The same goop that mutates him is the goop that will power the spaceship.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking that plot logic is one of the strong points.
The effects of the prawns, it really, in my opinion, they hold up to 2025 standards. And I appreciate that their motion still looks a little rough. Um, it's when you see it, in my mind, it almost looks like a combination of practical and CGI versus a lot of the special effects we're seeing these days are all so hyper realistic that your mind has a hard time distinguishing that they are just effects. I appreciate the roughness of the effects in this movie, which is more realistic than the AI these days. Yes, hell if I know. It's the found footage style. It helps cover up the CG rougher parts. Yeah,
Well,
with a lot of
apart from the fact that they gave up on the found footage style about 40 minutes ago, and there's
yes,
not been any.
exactly. Okay. All right, who's popping up?
This is our
I have
classic, solid quarter-sawn
have-
white oak bungalow bedroom set. This has
I
storage
have
drawers.
no pop-ups. Okay, hold on. I'm not going
Oh,
to exit.
Nothing that will have an advert for a bedroom set.
It's a bedroom set.
That's what they were talking.
Man, we were doing so good. We've gone, what, a month and a half or so without something coming up in the background. I don't know, guys.
You're right.
Technically, here, if I have a miscarriage,
I don't know.
I am not going to go to
A
jail.
miscarriage is not an
It
elective
is
abortion.
medically, it is your body
But it has
thwarting
nothing
the
to do with the
fetus.
law.
It is your body.
There is no law that says that a woman can't
in
have a miscarriage.
Wisconsin. In
I'm
Wisconsin,
gonna
there is
mute
not.
this.
In nowhere.
There is.
No, it's not.
There
they
should.
can't legislate
Excuse
if a woman
I
has a
am
miscarriage.
talking. There
Okay,
should
mama.
not.
Yeah, you
there
my mama or
should not
something.
ever be
Why
a
you
law
yelling over me?
because I need to be heard.
Nobody believes there should be a law on miscarriages. You're right.
Technically,
I have
here,
no
if I have a
idea.
miscarriage,
I'm
I am
used
not
to
going to.
myself.
Aneurysms, horrible things. What are they doing now, growing? Is that why the god-awful headaches?
One has sprung a leak.
Okay, but it's gonna have to wait until I'm done with my book.
Dr. Gregg, what are the possible consequences of not fixing a warning leak?
Stroke, hemorrhage, death.
Dr. Gray, what are the possible consequences for a botched clip?
Stroke, hemorrhage, death.
So I'm dead and my book's not finished. I can't do that to my readers. Could you?
The pain's getting worse.
Does it look like it's getting better?
I know it can really help.
What?
Clipping your aneurysm.
Cute.
Look, I'm sure if you call your publishers and you tell them, they'll extend the deadline.
It's not about a deadline. It's about my readers out there who are waiting for me to finish a series that they have been following for 10 years.
You're really that popular?
Wow. You really know how to kick a girl ego, don't you?
I'm sorry. We don't get a lot of time to read around here. Oh, God. Okay, hey, Shepard, down. Your aneurysm blew. How are you feeling?
Like a woman who just had brain surgery.
Fair enough.
Aneurysms, horrible things. What are they doing now, growing? Is that why the god-awful headaches?
Okay.
Well, Michelle Obama has settled it, ladies and gentlemen. The least important part of the woman's reproductive system is the reproduction part. Because I know that's what you're supposed to do. Whenever you name a system, you always make sure that you name it after the least important part of the system. Well, Michelle Obama has settled it, ladies and gentlemen.
When does human development begin?
It's going to be at conception.
So then shouldn't our laws then protect the first possible moment of human development?
Why should they?
Well, because it's a human life.
No, you're just telling me what the human...
Oh, I'm pretty certain that it's nothing at my end because I've not got anything open. And when I muted myself, the sound appeared to carry on. So I am completely innocent and wrongfully accused. Meanwhile, the wrongfully accused Vikas has turned it into a rather tedious action movie.
Okay, how's that? Okay, I think we're clear, right? Did I kill the gremlins?
Well, we heard a lot about Michelle Obama, the female reproductive system, and doing something important with protecting rights from birth. But other than that, yeah.
What the heck? I know. Yes, thank you, Matt. Standing by. I don't know what to tell you. I have no open tabs, nothing. The outer limits. Thank you, Matt. That's what I feel like. I'm in the twilight zone. Okay, but it looks like, all right, my timer's still going, so we're still good. Okay. All right, let's get back. You know what, Eric? Maybe it's the timer.
Did you take the timer from a website that was about Michelle Obama's reproductive system?
You know what, guys? That is a very good point. But there should be, hold on, there should be, I don't think I did. Oh, wouldn't that?
www.michelleobama'sreproductivesystem.com.
You know what? That is bizarre. Wouldn't that be funny if it was? Okay, so I turned the volume down. There shouldn't be any volume on the timer. I know. Hell if I know, someone hacked the interwebs. Okay, so let's hope I killed the gremlins. So I still have the movie running, so they have the mothership. Engaged? They have it moving. Yes, Cal, but we'll fix it in post. Yes, in post production. Yeah, thank you. I hadn't even thought it was the timer. Was that the last time it happened? Was the timer? Ah, very interesting. Okay, so yeah, they have Christopher handcuffed in the back of this ship. So it makes me wonder when the guy said, right there, get him out of the ship and get him talking. So when the prawns are talking, they're talking in their native language. Even, when they're talking to the humans. And so when the humans are talking to the prawns, there's got to be some kind of understanding of the language. So somewhere along the way that these humans should have learned the prawns language, and the prawns learned English. Since they've been here for decades, there should be some kind of way to relate, to understand each other a little bit better than they have up until this point, if you understand each other's language and there's not a language barrier. It reminds me of the movie Arrival with Amy Adams, and I think Jeremy Renner was in that, where this whole new alien species comes down, and we're basically starting from scratch. They don't understand us, we don't understand them, and there's a foundational understanding of we have to understand what each other is saying. So, how do you get to that point of understanding a totally foreign language? And how do you get them to understand us? And it's fascinating because my middle child studied that as a degree in linguistics. And it takes that concept to understanding languages that we have no understanding of to understand it. And there's a process. So I highly recommend the movie Arrival. It's not the best movie ever made, but from understanding a communicational standpoint, how you start from scratch, it's a great movie. Yes, Matt, the language barrier is easy to get around. Just read the subtitles. There you go, read the subtitles. At a certain point, though, these humans have a total lack of even wanting to understand these prawns. And so, interesting concept. If the prawns are understanding that, then the only thing they can do is they're still going to be doing their mission, and they couldn't give a crap whether we understand them or not. Oops, my timer started over. Okay. Well, are we good? We have about 20 minutes left. Are we good just not doing the timer? I can remove this. There we go. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, hell if I know. Sharon is right. It's all about language. When you learn another's language, you learn their culture, how they feel, and what's important. Need more of that in this world. Yeah. And when there's a lack of communication, or when there's a lack of wanting to communicate, then things break down, society breaks down, and interactions break down. Oh, yes. Calbot says disarmed. Yes, absolutely. He was disarmed. So we've basically gotten to the part of the movie where whoever has the biggest guns wins, basically.
Yeah, I find this whole action sequence quite problematic. I mean, because basically at the start of the movie, you're at the refugee camp where we're meant to sort of feel shock at the aliens being treated badly and having their homes burned down. And now we're meant to be excited by having those same homes be blown up as part of a firefight that would have massive collateral damage. It's kind of not really got much of an intellectual through line to it.
Right. Yes. That is what is lacking in this. From the NMU's perspective, they're just a bunch of thugs at this point. They're out to just
I'm
show that they have the bigger gun.
more about what it's saying to us as the audience. That now we're just meant to be thinking it's fine and perfectly acceptable to watch two sides shoot the hell out of each other in this ghetto, whereas earlier we were meant the destruction and things in the ghetto was things that were meant to trigger disgust and outrage in us, rather than have us go, cool, big guns.
Yeah, interesting point, because we have gotten to the point in the story where they've developed all of that emotional undercurrent. We're vested in the outcome for the prawns. We get who the sides are, and now this is just a shoot 'em up. This is basically what it has come down to. Um, but if we can get past that, there's still the part of the story that needs to be resolved. And now that Christopher is in the ship, we're very closely going to be getting to the resolution of where the story is heading. This could, I don't know exactly why in the filmmaker's mind they've kind of gone to this just shoot 'em up aspect of the movie, but it could be just to maybe take away from the special effects side of it, because they only had a $30 million budget that maybe
Possibly spending it on a 40-minute shoot 'em up
right.
thing.
Yeah,
Wasn't
and that could have been it. Yeah. And the 30 million went into the prawns, the ships, all the special effects, and now you've got time to fill that. Well, it's easy just showing guys with guns. Maybe. And this really did do very well at the box office, and they had a strict $30 million budget they adhered to. I don't remember this movie even hitting the theaters, but the next thing you know, that this is a blockbuster, and I think it had all of the elements of a major blockbuster, and people didn't know about it until it hit the theaters. I think I saw it on a rental only after it got through the theaters. Anybody got the dollar figures of what it made at the box office? I'm going to check it out right now. I think it made a couple hundred million, if I'm not mistaken.
210 million.
How much? How much was it?
210 million.
Very respectable.
So enough for them to hire him to do another film.
Yeah, and
another film that has that has a much higher budget, but doesn't really have the increase in box office. And I don't like the other film. I didn't like Elysium.
What did he do after this?
He did Elysium. That was again, the world is segregated between poor people who live on Earth and rich people who live in a space station. And Matt Damon is a poor person, and Jodie Foster is a rich evil person, and lots of action ensues. And then he did Chappie, which, as it sounds, is about dog food.
Yeah, I think didn't Chappie bomb at the box office?
It budget 49 million, box office 102 million. So
it's respectable.
Yeah, no, not really. Basically, you need to have 3 to 4 times your production budget to be considered successful, I think.
Yeah, that is true.
What you have to remember is of that box office, particularly early on, a big chunk of it is going to the cinemas. So that 102 million isn't all flowing back to the studio.
Oh, and we see This is 72 hours. Like 3 days have gone by. And this is the progression of Vikas. Not complete, but you kind of see him. You see the transformation. And I mean, there's really only one way that it's going. Oh, Hell if I Know is saying Godzilla Minus One was another example of making a great film for only 10 to $20 million. Yeah, and you're right, James. It has gotten to the point where, for all the money that a studio or any kind of production puts into the movie, they have to make so much more of it back just to be considered profitable.
Well, it's basically the whole problem is when they're budgeting these films at things like 250 million as the production budget, you're looking at having to have a worldwide box office of 1 billion for them to more than break even.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't have Star Trek films made anymore. Because when Paramount could make Star Trek films sort of in their TV division, it didn't matter they made 60 million at the global box office because they'd cost peanuts. But
Yeah.
when they spend 200 million or something on the latest Chris Pine one, then it has to make an amount of money back that a Star Trek movie just ain't going to earn. So you don't
Yeah.
have any more. And you saw that like the last James Bond film, No Time to Die, that again with the budget they had ended up with on that was going to need over 1 billion at the box office to break even. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It is
Especially
crazy.
especially when cinema attendance hasn't bounced back after the pandemic.
And it probably, at this point, I don't think it is going to bounce back. I think people are set in the new way of doing things. And if studios keep going on the track they're going, they're not going to be able to do these big blockbusters and expect to make a profit and stay in business. The supposedly the next Marvel movie they're doing, that's coming out what, in a year or two, has to make at minimum 1 billion worldwide at the box office to be profitable. That's nuts. Yeah. So Eric, so is Chris the captain of the mothership? Oh, go ahead.
I mean, you can see it's not healthy when basically you've got stuff like that new Superman movie that I think has already hit streaming, what, 30 days after its cinema premiere? When I know Warner goes very early with sending it to streaming, but
Right. That is true. I mean, movies are going from theater to streaming in no time flat, whereas it
and
used
they
to be a long time.
and they don't have the chance to build by word of mouth. They've got to basically be a big hit on day one, week one in the cinema, or they get pulled pretty much straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Well, times have changed. Yes, Eric. So is Chris the captain of the mothership all along? That's what I'm getting the impression of, because that was his whole process to get in the fuel, to get the ship back into the mothership, to pilot it. That's my understanding, is that nobody else could have piloted it. I don't know. So at this point,
And now it's gone back to, we'll have a bit of sort of found footage to pretend we're documentary style. No, it doesn't work because you've thrown that away in the last hour and just done standard first person shooter action movie crap. Stop it.
yeah.
You're annoying me now.
And well, it is a way of wrapping up the story with Christopher taking the mothership and they're gone. The
I
prawns that are
think
left.
they need to make up their mind what sort of film they're making and then stick with it. It's I just don't like this switching between sort of found footage, faux documentary stuff, and
Right.
then basically completely forgetting you're doing that and having an hour of people running around shooting one another. And then going back and saying, "Oh no, we were about this all along." No, you weren't.
um, yeah, and this is kind of where we are in the movie. We are wrapping up the story, and we're going to see the last bit about what happened to Vikas, which was inevitable. Um, Christopher was saying he's going to be back in 3 years. He's gone off, and we'll never know what had happened because there's no sequel. And that is, there you go. There you go. We are at the end of this, and it has been quite a movie. Yeah, interesting, Matt. Yes, full circle. The movie has just come full circle. Calbot is saying, okay, I watched the Dario Argento cut of Dawn of the Dead yesterday. Now this today. Maybe I'll watch something uplifting now, like Last House on the Left or Seven or Event Horizon or Threads. Exactly. So yeah, this movie gets me every time I watch it. It's very heavy. Luckily, next week we have X-Men. And so that will be a lot of fun, very uplifting. Yeah, James, you're going to be on vacation the next 2 weeks. If you're able to join us in the chat, it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
I'll be on a coach travelling back until 10 at night next Sunday, so that's likely to be a no.
Yeah, but yeah, we will. We'll see you when you come back. We're going to do X-Men next week. Alex will be joining us. After that, we're going to be doing Lord of Illusions to wrap out.
X-Men from the days before Bryan Singer was cancelled.
Yep, exactly. And we have back before Marvel made their impression. One of the first high budget superhero movies that I remember seeing. So yeah, so there we go. And we have Lord of Illusions.
Has Marvel got the X-Men back for their universe? Or is that still something where some other company is going to pop out a film every 5 years or something to keep the rights active?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's my understanding that the X-Men and Marvel are now under the same umbrella, with the exception of part of the Spider-Man universe. There's still a debate on that. But yeah, they're under the same
We'll
umbrella.
see much more Spider-Man universe after that Craven film bombed.
Oh, I have yet to see that. So yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the Marvel DC. We'll talk about all of that superhero aspect next week. Thank you, James. Thank you for being my permanent co-host. You have helped me through this patch. We'll bring you back because I want to start bringing everybody back.
Next time I get to pick a film.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so before everybody goes, I was mentioning before that I do now have a hard copy on a spreadsheet, like all of these movie ideas. That's where I'm going to put them all from now on instead of having them all on pieces of paper. What I can do is I can put the link to it. It's on my Google Drive that you guys can see. You're not going to be able to edit it, but at least you can see kind of the ideas that we have floating about.
We're not allowed to edit it. How are we meant to go in there and change all the titles to extra?
Yeah, because then you're going to take out things like extra 2. the holiday special. You're going to take those all out. So anyway, but I will make that available.
I would edit it so it solely contained 80s and 90s movies that I like.
Exactly. And you're a big part of this list because you gave me this master list and I've included those. A lot of the movies on your list we've already done. So we've got a lot of good movies. We're going to be adding to it. So yes, that's kind of where we're going to leave it today. We'll pick it up next week. And I'm going to get rid of these internet gremlins once and for all, guys.
I am going to go and pack luggage. Goodbye.
There you go. Bye, James. Thank you so much. And to you all, thank you so much for joining. The last of the comments, you guys have, you just rock the chat today. This is why I do what I do. I love hearing from you and getting into a deep discussion on these movies. Next week, it's probably not going to be so deep. We're going to be, X-Men is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite franchises. And I am not going to experience franchise fatigue with the X-Men. So, all right, we're going to bid adieu until next week. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.